Welcome to the Weekly Roar, coming live from the Lion's Den, helping new managers become great leaders and awesome bosses. And now, here's your host, Greg Storch.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Lion's Den. This is the Weekly Roar. Welcome back, everyone. It's great to have you here today for the next lesson learned in leadership, another mentoring moment. Today's lesson is all about discovering our real strengths and why that's important to us in life and in leadership. I'm going to talk all about that in just a second. But first, I'm Greg Storch. I'm the owner of Lion Enterprise, host of the Weekly Roar, and the founder of a worldwide bartered coaching program called The Helping Hand. I'm a certified professional leadership coach and a certified leadership speaker and trainer. Last week, we continued with my newest leadership series, Mentoring Moments in Leadership, with a lesson about how being a great listener makes a huge difference for leaders. I shared a few reasons why I believe that good leaders are great listeners. And then I shared some tips on how you can work on becoming a better listener to improve all of your relationships, both personally and professionally. Now, if you weren't able to join us last Wednesday for the Weekly Roar, or if you need to catch up, or you just want to watch that session over again, you can access all of my free video resources on my website at lion-enterprise.com. Click on the Lion's Pride Library menu to find video number 130 for last week. And while you're in the Lion's Pride Library, make sure you look around and stay a while. It's a free resource, and it really is a great way for you to get more of the roar. Okay, you guys, let's jump into today's topic, and I'm calling this one, Find Your Own Swim Lane. You know, there have been more than 24 million people who have taken the Strength Finders assessment. That's a lot of people wanting to identify their strengths. But why is that so important? I would say it's important because we need to be able to identify what we do well so we can continue doing it. We have to find our swim lanes. The thing is, everybody's different and we all function differently based on our personalities. So it's important to know ourselves and what we're capable of doing. Our strengths are things we can leverage, things we can use to push ourselves further. But obviously, in order to leverage your strengths, you first need to know what they are. While millions have taken the assessment to find their strengths, there are billions who haven't. If I were to ask you what your strengths are, what would you tell me? Would the question challenge you to tell me about your good qualities? Make you feel uncomfortable? Maybe both. Or would you wonder what the point is and dismiss that question altogether? Well, listen, if you find it difficult to toot your own horn and tell others what makes you special, you're not alone. In fact, a lot of people don't know what their own strengths are in the first place, much less how to talk about them in a way that's confident without sounding egotistical, right? Most people actually have no clue what their strengths are. And without that knowledge, it's difficult for us to reach our own unique potential and find out what we're really meant to do. If you don't identify your strength zone so you can operate within it consistently, you may find yourself performing tasks that aren't aligned to your talents and skills. And when that happens, we become ineffective. But what I want to share with you today is that it's never too late for you to intentionally set out to discover your strengths. Whether you're a new leader or a seasoned leader at the peak of your career, the more you work in your strength zone, the more successful you'll be. Whether you're looking to improve yourself or if you're a leader wanting to empower your people to perform better, your efforts start with finding your strength zone. And there are plenty of assessments out there on the market that can help you do just that. One of the more common ones is Strength Finders. Gallup research has proven that people who find their strength zones and work within them are more engaged at work, more productive in their roles, and happier and healthier. Go figure. Okay, so I just made a statement a second ago, and I said that those of us who find our strength zone and stay in it, stay in their swim lanes, are more successful than those who don't. But we all define success differently, don't we? So I think it's important that you also take time to identify what success is for you personally. And by the way, once you define it, just remember that it can change as you change. So be open and flexible to your definition maturing as you do. Here's a personal example from my own life. When I was on active duty in the Navy, success to me was rising through the ranks and reaching the highest rank I could before I retired. And then when I retired, my definition of success was really wrapped around income and maximizing my money. As you know, I eventually left all that behind, and now I define success as not only knowing what I was put here on earth to do, my purpose in life, but also continually growing in the direction of my full potential. I'm doing that now. And if anybody asks me, I tell them that I'm a successful business owner. And it's not because I'm a millionaire or because I have companies all over the world or thousands of employees, but because I've redefined success and I'm working to meet that definition each and every day. And that brings me back to finding our strengths, because without knowing and working within your strength zone, no matter how you define success, it won't be possible unless you find and stay in your strength zone. Now, you might be wondering at this point why I haven't mentioned anything about identifying weaknesses and what role that plays in our success. Well, while it is important to know our areas of weakness so that others can fill in our gaps, the thing is that it's more important that we focus on our strengths. Why? Because our purpose in life is always connected to our unique gifts. We don't get called to do something we have no talent for. No, when we discover our strength zone, our own swim lane, and we stay in it, we give ourselves the best chance to discover our purpose. We all probably know someone who believes that the way to reach their potential is to identify their weaknesses and focus on improving those while ignoring their strengths. I mean, it makes sense, right? I'm already strong there, so why would I worry about developing a strength? But people who spend most of their time improving their weaknesses and ignoring their strengths will never be on a path to reaching their full potential. They'll become mediocre at best. And so this is why I wanted to share this leadership lesson learned with you today, because I wanted to emphasize the importance of focusing on our strengths. Get in your own swim lane and stay in it. Even the American writer Marilyn Vos Savant told us success is achieved by developing our strengths, not by eliminating our weaknesses. Let me share 3 reasons how having an awareness about your strengths can actually help you. Well, first of all, it's a great way to know and accept yourself. A lot of people don't recognize that their unique qualities can be their strengths. They take those characteristics for granted and they play them down by saying things like, oh, that's just me being me, or I've always been that way. Or sometimes they just dismiss or hide their strengths because maybe they've been told at some point in their lives that their way of being isn't acceptable or they aren't good enough. Maybe your gift, your strength has been minimized or criticized even by influential people in your own life. So that would make you tend to hide those things from other people. But when you accept and develop your differentness, it becomes an asset, a unique thing that actually makes you valuable to others. Strength awareness helps us to recognize and embrace who we are at our core. Another way that having an awareness around your strengths can help you is that it can help us stay motivated and energized. Have you ever noticed that when you're doing what you love, that time just seems to fly by? Hours will pass in what feels like minutes because you're pursuing your passion. This happens to me all the time when I'm working in my creative zone, making graphics or editing videos. I love doing that stuff, and I can be sitting here for hours doing it, thinking I've only been at it for a few minutes. When we do what comes naturally to us, and when we've completed the task, we realize that even though we might be physically tired, we're still full of this inner energy that comes from our sense of accomplishing something. That happens because we get fed on a deeper level when we're using our strengths, and we're aligned with our purpose when we're using our unique gifts and talents. Finding our swim lane and staying in it helps us create more motivation and energy. And the last thing is that when we have awareness around our strengths, it helps us release the need to be good at everything. How many times have you heard to try everything so you can be more well-rounded? The truth is that we can't be good at everything, but we can excel at certain things. So when we focus on what we naturally do well and develop those talents and skills, we release the pressure to excel in all areas. Listen, you should take no pride in being a jack of all trades, but a master of none. When we stop comparing ourselves to others and let go of the need to be like somebody else, it frees us to develop those abilities that are unique to us. I think some of you listening today may have read the book Strength-Based Leadership. If you have, you might remember that the authors wrote that if you spend your life trying to be good at everything, you'll never be great at anything. And while our society encourages us to be well-rounded, that approach inadvertently breeds mediocrity. I believe that when you step into your strengths, you step into your greatness. So I just wanted to share a few reasons why I think it's important for us to gain better awareness around our strengths. Now, maybe you've already gone through this exercise to identify your strengths. Maybe you haven't. And if not, then I encourage you to discover and develop who you truly are. And if you want to do that, here are 4 simple suggestions to get you started on tapping into your strength zone. First, ask yourself, what am I doing well? Now, take note here that there's a difference between asking what you're doing well and what you're doing right. When you ask yourself what you're doing well, it helps you focus on your talents. And while we should always try to do what's right, it isn't going to tell you anything about your talent. The second thing is that you have to be specific. When we think about our strengths, we can tend to think too broadly. By getting specific about your strength, the better chances are that you can find your sweet spot. Don't play around on the fringes of your strength zone. Dive deep, get specific, and dive right into the center of it. Now, the third thing is listen to what others have to say. Don't take your talents for granted. That happens more often than you might think. Sometimes when we're good at doing something, we assume everyone can do the same thing just as well as we can. In order not to skip over a possible talent or skill, keep your ears open and listen to what others are saying. If you identify something that you're doing that tends to draw praise from others, pay attention to that and start developing it further. It's most likely your strength. All right, the last thing is that you should look around and take notice. Now, I'm not encouraging you to compare yourself to others. We already know that isn't healthy for us to do that. But what I am suggesting is that you don't waste time doing things that others can do much better than you can. Here's an example. My friend Gina is a very talented photographer. She just has that eye to perfectly compose a shot. So when I want to get a great picture of something around here in Italy, I ask Gina to do it for me because I know my talents don't lie in photography. If you don't have the talent to do something better than the competition, place your energy and focus somewhere else. You might not be able to be better than they are, but it's very possible to be different. And that's what's going to set you apart from the competition. Being more intentional about understanding your strengths will help you move in the direction of the life and work you were born to do. And by the way, you may be in the right place now in your current position. And if so, with these insights, you may just need a tweak or two. If you really want to discover your purpose, I encourage you to start by exploring your strengths. Remember, our purpose in life is tied to our giftedness, that thing we're really good at. It's actually how I ended up where I am today. I went through this drill myself as I contemplated transitioning out of corporate America and into solo entrepreneurship. I sat in the car on my commute into DC and I just started asking myself some questions, and you can use these yourself if you really want to identify your strengths and start pursuing your passion. First, I asked myself, what am I known for? In other words, when people ask for my help, what do they usually ask for my help with? Another question I asked that I think is really important for us to investigate is, what do I love to do? What am I good at? That's a strength. Now, once I was able to identify my strength zone, I was able to identify the boundaries within which I needed to stay in order to discover my purpose. With a little effort, focus, and desire to focus more on your strengths and less on your weaknesses, you can start reaching your full potential and realizing your true purpose in life. And that, my friends, is what I would call success. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today. Before I wrap up, though, don't forget, go to the Lion's Den group page and please participate in today's Conversation Corner. It's already posted waiting for you there. It's a very simple question that will help you share with us what you believe your strengths are. If you want to keep running to the roar, then join me next week as I share another lesson learned in leadership. This next lesson learned is one that can be challenging for a lot of leaders, even though it's one of their major responsibilities. Let me help you get a reality check when you come on back to the Lion's Den next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, everybody, for supporting me again today and coming back for this next lesson learned. I appreciate you coming to the Weekly Roar, and I love these comments. So keep them coming, and don't forget, go talk in the conversation corner. We want to hear more from you. Now, until we meet again next Wednesday, remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Weekly Roar live event at lionenterprise.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tell others to join us each week here in the Lion's Den. Thanks again, and see you next week.